Hello, BookTube, and as promised, I have started to read the Baillie Gifford Longlist of non-fiction. So those are books that have been published in the UK over the course of a year. I think it's October to October, and they've got to be non-fiction. So 12 was longlisted. I said I was going to do a book review of each when I've finished it, and then do sort of like a ranking towards the end. Now I'm not a book reviewer, so I'll just be giving my opinions of the book when I've completed it. So it's only going to be short. I'm not going to go on for some length. Now the first one that I finished was Between the Waves. I've got this because I can never remember the subtitle of this book. This is The Hidden History of a Very British Revolution, 1945 to 2016, by Tom McTague. Now, this is a look at the history of the United Kingdom with the European Union. Now, this is not a book, it's not really a political book about the pros and cons of being a part of the European Union or not. This is just giving a history from after World War II of Europe trying to become closer, so we don't drag the world into another world war again, and becoming socially and economically more tied with each other. So it goes through all the list of characters that you expect. So from the early days with Winston Churchill, Clemenceau. This is very also kind of UK based. So Nigel Farage, Margaret Thatcher. It goes through, talks a little bit about people over in the continent like Monet, people who are influential over in the European Union side, and Harold Wilson, Heath. It goes pretty much every UK Prime Minister from 45 to 2016, and some people who were in Prime Minister or not Prime Minister, like I said, Nigel Farage or Boris Johnson, the people who were heavily involved in Brexit. So I thought this book was a really good, comprehensive look at the history of the United Kingdom's relationship with the European Union, or the customs market, whatever it was called before the European Union. And I think it was fairly well done. I mean, you can write whole books about even just the 2016 referendum on Brexit. So it doesn't go too in depth in some parts. It's more like a look through time, picking certain points where it was important. So it's really good. The writing is superb. It is very user friendly. It's welcoming. You don't need to know much about the UK or the European Union if you want to jump into this book. Very understandable. So what I think about it is, it's, as I said, it's okay for an introductory book into the European Union and the UK's relationship. I thought it was sometimes too heavily focused about the politics in the UK rather than also what was happening over in the continent. I mean, it did touch on Charles de Gaulle, the former French president, but Charles de Gaulle, towards the earlier days, he was adamant that the UK was not going to join any sort of common market because he didn't want that Anglo relationship affecting Europe too much. And it's also, if they bring in Britain to the European sphere, America will also have a say as well, and that's why there was sort of a pushback on us joining until Charles de Gaulle finally left, and then we joined the common markets in 1973. It's also, it doesn't really discuss, I know it says it doesn't discuss the pros and cons, but it doesn't really discuss the main arguments of the referendum. It just talks about there was a referendum. And I think it also misses out on one of the important things for modern, that social media was a huge factor in the both campaigns. But overall, I think it was a fairly well done bit of history. Little bits and pieces, little nitpicks, you can make it better, like I've just said. But if you're interested in, UK history and how we got into the European Union and how then we ultimately left in 2016, this book will give you what you need to know why. And that's it. So that's the first one that I read. I give that, it's a recommended. I don't know how I'm actually going to finally put all these into like some sort of order, but a strong opening book, and it's a positive thumbs up. It's a recommended. You should read it. That's Tom McTague, Between the Waves.